Hello my dear students, I hope you all are good. So in the previous video we have already completed theory of demand. Now today I am going to start chapter number 3. We have theory of supply. So before going to this chapter we have to know the concept of supply. So here supply refers to the quantity of a commodity that the producers are willing to produce and offer for a sale in the market at a particular price during particular period of time. So that concept is known as supply. So here when we define this supply, we have to keep few things in our mind. So number one, we have supply of a commodity is always with reference to price. That means whenever we supply any quantity of commodity, that supply of a commodity is expressed in the terms of price. Suppose supply when we are supplying, suppose say quantity of wheat. So the wheat when we supply, it may be measured in the terms of per kg, per quintal. The price may be 20 rupees per kg or maybe 2000 rupees per quintal. So here when we define the supply, it is always with the reference to price. Now second thing, whenever the quantity is being supplied in the market, that is also with the reference to time period. Time period means whether the commodity is being supplied for per day, per week or per month. So here time period is also very important. That's why in the definition we have mentioned that whatever the quantity of commodity that producers are willing to offer for a sale at a particular price during particular period of time. So we have mentioned there particular price and particular time period. So as I have already explained, this particular price means whenever the quantity is being supplied, that is with the reference to price. It may be in the terms of kg or maybe in the terms of quintal or maybe in the terms of tons. So second thing, we have supply of commodity is also expressed in the terms of time period. Means whatever the quantity of commodity will be supplying, so that supply will be measured in the terms of time period. Maybe for 1 day, maybe for 1 week, 1 month or for 1 year. So whatever the commodity is being supplied, so that is also with the reference to time period. The second important thing that you have to understand from this chapter is the difference between stock and supply. So in common sense we feel that this stock and supply of commodity is same, but there is a difference between these two concepts, stock and supply. So stock refers to the total amount of commodity that is available with the producers, and supply refers to the part of that stock whatever the producers are willing to bring it in the market for a sale, then that concept is known as supply. So here supply of a commodity does not comprise the entire part of that stock. So we can say that supply is only a part of stock that is being brought in the market for a sale. So that concept is called supply. Once again, stock means so here stock refers to the total quantity of commodity available with the producers. Whatever the amount of a commodity that is available with the producers, then that concept is called stock. Whereas supply is a part of stock. whichever the producers are willing to bring market for sale. So I hope you have got the difference between these two once again. So stock is the total amount of commodity that is available with the producers. So that concept is called stock. And supply is only the part of stock that the producers are bringing in the market for a sale. So that concept is called supply. Now I'll give you one example in this context, and from there it will be easier for you to understand the concept of that stock and supply. Suppose say one producer is there and he is producing some say biscuits. Let's consider Good Day. Good Day. Now suppose say producers are producing 10,000 units. 10,000 units or 10,000 packets of biscuits. So these 10,000 units of biscuits can be considered as a stock. And out of this 10,000, suppose say the producers are bringing only 6,000 unit. Okay, so out of this 10,000, suppose say 6,000 unit is bringing in the market for a sale. So this 6,000 unit of biscuits can be considered as supply. Once again, whatever the total production it is taking place in the firm, that total amount of commodity can be considered as a stock. And supply means how much part of that stock the producers are bringing in the market for a sale. So here we have considered example 6,000. Out of 10,000, 6,000 they are bringing in the market for a sale. So this 6,000 unit can be considered as supply of a commodity. Okay, next concept I am going to explain you, that is individual supply. Individual supply and market supply. So there are two things, individual supply and market supply. So individual supply, if you know the definition of supply, it is same. The quantity of commodity that the producers are bringing in a market and offering for a sale at a particular price during a particular period of time, that concept is known as supply. So here individual means the quantity that is being supplied by only one producer. So single producer. So we can say that individual supply refers to the quantity of commodity that the individual producer or firm are bringing the commodity in a market for a sale at a particular price during particular period of time. So that concept is called individual supply. Whereas in the case of market supply, if the quantity of commodity that is produced by many firms or all the firms or all the producers, and if they are bringing in a market for a sale at a particular price during particular period of time, then that concept is known as market supply. So here how many firms are there? Many firms are there. Many, or we can say that all firms or produces. So here the single producers are producing and bringing in a market for a sale. So that is your individual supply. In the case of market supply, all the firms or all the producers, whatever the quantity of commodity they are producing and bringing it in a market for a sale, then that concept is called market supply. The next important topic we have determinants of supply. This is very important. This determinants may come in 7 or 8 marks question for your ICC exam. So determinants are what are the factors responsible for affecting the supply of a commodity. So we know that there are various factors that affects the supply of a commodity. We will discuss one by one. First we have price of the commodity. Now we have to understand how the price of a commodity affects the quantity supply. So we know that when the price of a commodity is high, the quantity supply will be more. If price is high, the quantity supply, QS is our quantity supply, so the quantity supply will be more. If price of commodity decreases, quantity supply will also decrease. So there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supply. So if price of commodity increases, then the profit per unit also increases, and when profit of the firm increases, that will motivate the producers to produce more and supply more units of commodity in the market. So here one of the important determinants that affects the supply of a commodity is the price of commodity itself. If price of commodity is very high, quantity supply will be more. If price of commodity is less, quantity supply will be less. So here we can see that higher price will bring more profit to the firm or the producers, and that will motivate the producers to supply more units of commodity in the market. Now second factor, we have factors of production, or we can consider this one as input. Input prices or the prices of factors of production. We know that there are different factors of production: labor, land, machinery, equipment. So there are various factors that are used in the production process. So if the price of labor, that means if the wages of labor increases, or if the price of raw material increases, or if the cost of machinery increases, then obviously the cost of production will increase. And if cost of production increases, the per unit cost will increase. At the same time, the profit margin of the producers will decrease. And when the profit margin of the producers decreases, the supply of commodity will decrease, because decrease in the profit discourages the producers to supply more. So in that case, if the price of raw materials or any input price increases, the cost of production will go up, and that will discourage the producers to produce more and supply more in the market. Similarly, if the cost of production decreases, for example, if the wages of the labor is decreasing, or if the input prices, raw materials cost is decreasing in the market, then per unit profit of the firm will increase, and in that case the supply of commodity will be more. The next factors responsible for affecting the supply of a commodity is techniques of production or technology. So techniques of production play also important role in increasing or decreasing the supply of a commodity. If the producers are using old outdated techniques of production, then obviously their per unit cost of production will be high. But if the if the producers are using the efficient technology or advanced type of machinery equipments, so that leads to decrease in the cost per unit production. So if the per unit cost of production decreases, then their profit margin will increase, and when the profit margin increases, that will motivate the producers to produce more and supply more in the market. So here techniques of production is also one of the important factor to affect the supply of a commodity. Next, we have natural factor. So natural factor also affects the supply of a commodity in the market. Especially it affects in the agricultural sector. So when there is a unfavorable climatic condition, or if there is a flood or a heavy rainfall, that may decrease the supply of commodity, because heavy rainfall or flood or maybe unfavorable climatic condition may affect the production, that may destroy the production of food grains, and if there is a destruction of production of food grains, so in that case the supply of commodity will decrease. Whereas on the other hand, if there is a favorable climatic condition, or if there is a adequate rainfall, and if that helps the food crops to grow smoother, then in that case the supply of commodity will be more. So here natural factor is also responsible for affecting the supply of a commodity. The next factor we have taxation and subsidies. So taxation and subsidies also play a vital role in supplying the different units of commodity. So if government imposes very high rate of taxation, if government imposes high rate of GST, sales tax or excise duties, in that case the cost of production will increase, and when cost of production increases, the profit margin of the producer will degrade. So that increase in cost of production will discourage the producers. So in that case supply will be less. Whereas if the government is providing subsidies or giving relaxation in the terms of taxation, or government is reducing the rate of taxation, in that case the cost per unit production of the farm will decrease, and if the cost of production decreases, that will encourage the producers to produce more and supply more in the market. So here this taxation and subsidies also play a very important role in affecting the supply of a commodity. The next factor that affects the supply of a commodity is goals of the producer, or we can see that the goal of the farm. So goal of the farm means, we know that the main aim or the objective of the farm is to maximize profit. So that profit maximization can be done in two ways. One, if their main objective is profit maximization, then the seller or the producers wants to sell less unit of commodity at the higher price. Suppose say if we can consider the example of store and the one who is selling any items on the footpath. So we can find some differences. The quality of the clothes, let's consider example clothes. The quality of clothes may be more or less similar, but if you will purchase that from store, you have to pay higher price. So in that case we can make sense that there in the store the main objective of the seller is to maximize profit, whereas in the case of footpath, the producers or the sellers, those who are selling their clothes on the footpath, in that case their main objective is to maximize sales. So we can see that sales maximization. So sales maximization means here the producers aims at selling more units of clothes by charging more or less same price. So instead of charging higher price, in the case of the sales maximization, what the producers will do, that producer will focus on selling more number of clothes, whereas in the case of this store, this is the case of store or showroom. And this is the case of the shop which are on the footpath. So the one who is selling their products on the footpath, their objective is sales maximization. So here also they will earn the profit, but by selling maximum number of clothes, they will maximize their profit. Here in the case of this sales maximization, we can take the example of showroom or storage or store, where their objective is to sell less number at the higher price so that they can maximize their profit. So these are the very important points that affects the supply of a commodity.